Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside the Newsroom. I'm Maddie Paul. Inside the Newsroom, we bring you the trending stories of the KELOLAND area, and we bring in our newsroom staff members to talk about their experiences and their passions for creating the stories that you see every day on our KELOLAND newscasts and KELOLAND.com. We're getting started right away with an interview here at the digital desk because our meteorologist, Jalen Borison, is joining me now because we have to talk about the heat that we're bringing.
I know, that's the big headline is the heat. I mean, can't get much hotter than it is going to be this weekend.
I was telling Brian yesterday that I'm already sweating a little bit because Thursday was already getting hot. Luckily down here at the digital desk, it's a little cool.
I know, we're staying cool here. Yeah.
It's just a lot. We'll have to get some ice cream after this, Jalen.
I agree.
Let's talk about the heat that is on the way. What can we expect here in the KELOLAND area?
So, I mean, we're already feeling the heat today, and we felt it yesterday as well. But going into the weekend, we're only going to keep turning up the heat, especially here in southeastern KELOLAND. Here's why I'm talking about your Saturday forecast. A lot of sunshine across the area, so that's very nice. But we're going to have those southerly winds becoming breezy at times, especially here in the Sioux Falls area and Rapid City. But a lot of triple digits in the forecast for us.
It's like been so long since I've seen 100 degrees in our forecast.
I know.
And so just looking at it, I'm like, wow. And as we were hearing from Brian yesterday, it's been a long time since we had that 100 degrees. So what other alerts should we be aware of, Jalen?
Well, along with that, the thing is we're going to have those dew points hanging around for tomorrow, especially here to the east, 70-degree dew points. It's going to feel pretty muggy, if not even tropical out there. So, I mean, you're going to step outside and basically feel like you're sweating.
I hope I don't see the bugs, though.
I know, me too. I'm hoping those stay at bay. But otherwise, central and western South Dakota looking a little better with more dry conditions. So that's good there. But yeah, with that comes the heat warnings as well. As that humidity lingers around, we have a extreme heat warning in southeastern KELOLAND through Sunday, but portions of central and eastern KELOLAND, as well as a heat advisory, as some of those heat index values could reach 108 degrees.
Can you explain the heat index a little bit more?
So the heat index is a combination of the air temperature and relative humidity. So put those two together, and that's your feels like temperature when you sit outside. But did you know, Maddie, that the heat index value is only calculated in shady areas?
No, not at all.
I know. That's something new I kind of learned over the past few days as well. And one thing that is pretty helpful, this tool, it's called the wet bulb globe temperature. It's a little bit of a crazy word, but basically to sum it up, it's kind of like the heat index, but multiple factors are put into it as like wind speeds and the angle of the sun as well, but then even just direct sunlight and cloud cover. So we're taking into consideration, if you're just sitting in the sun, how that could impact your body and how much stress the heat will put on your body. So this weekend in the Sioux Falls area, we're going to be in that high level there. So that means within 20 minutes in the sun, you could experience a heat-related illness.
And then how can we stay safe from that illness?
About taking breaks in the sun. If you're in the sun for an hour or so, you'll want to take a 40-minute break after that just to kind of help your body cool down a little bit, but also drink plenty of liquids, especially water, and also definitely not a bad weekend to hang out by the water and lakes as well.
Oh, I want to go swimming already.
I know, me too. I can feel the pool calling my name.
We were talking about those sweet treats too, so that could help out too. You know, there's a lot of weekend activities going on in the KELOLAND area. So is there any other advisories that we should know about as people are heading outside?
Not currently, just those heat advisories. Out to the west, it's a little better as they have less humidity. But otherwise, it's just going to be a hot weekend. You're going to want to take those breaks and keep staying hydrated as well. And also just really limit any strenuous outdoor activities too.
So then what's your favorite outdoor activity when it gets this hot?
Oh, definitely taking the boat out on the lake. That's my favorite.
Nice.
Yes.
You know, you're new to the KELOLAND area, so is there a particular lake or pond or anywhere that you visited that you thought was really cool?
Just last week, I visited Wall Lake. It's about probably 15 minutes west of the Sioux Falls area. Has a nice little beach. It's a smaller lake, but definitely did the job for me.
If you're a water park person, I feel like you need to go to Wild Water West.
I know I need to go. Oh my goodness. Yes,
They
that
got a
is on
lazy
the list.
river. They have just a wave pool. They have everything. That was like my childhood staple. So I'm emitting that energy for you so that you can get out there and have some
I
fun.
know, I'll have to go.
Jalen, what else should we know about this heat wave coming in? Or is there anything we should know about after the heat on the weekend?
Well, the thing is, it's going to be pretty breezy out there this weekend, but it's going to get even breezier as we go into Sunday. We'll have a cold front move through KELOLAND with gusts up to 40 miles per hour possible across the area.
Wow. Anything else that you'd like to say about weather either for this weekend or coming up for next week?
I mean, as we go into next week, cooler temperatures on the way, so this heat won't last for too long, thankfully.
Yep.
And we probably won't see the extreme heat again for a little bit. But otherwise, next week looking rainy and more thunderstorm chances as well.
And we'll stay updated on that. Our meteorologist will continue looking at all the rain that's coming through. Jalen, thank you for joining me. And still to come on Inside the Newsroom, as we're talking about those weekend events going on and staying safe in the sun, we're going to highlight one particular event that will be ending on Saturday, and it has a big cash prize. Stay with us. Hello and welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. Now, it's action-packed over at Huset's Speedway, and we're bringing in one of our reporters and anchors to talk about all the action that they saw on Wednesday. Joining me now at the digital desk is Travis Fossing, who's been following this fun little dirt track race story. Travis, are you interested in cars or racing?
I do enjoy racing. I don't get out to Huset's as much as I'd like, but overall, pretty big fan of the dirt flying around the track.
So you kind of went in then knowing a little bit about what's going on with Huset's Speedway and then the High Bank Nationals for Huset's?
Yeah, I started as a sports reporter, so I've done a lot of stories with different drivers and just at the track in general. But yeah, this is one of the biggest weeks of the year out at Huset's Speedway, year in and year out, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
So as you were out there on Wednesday, just getting some interviews and hearing about what to expect for this upcoming weekend, what was something that really stuck out to you?
Just the money that's on the line is one of the biggest things. It's $100,000 to win on Thursday and then $250,000 on Saturday. And a few years ago, that was the biggest prize ever in dirt track racing, and it's right up there amongst the highest totals now as well.
I was just looking at your story that I have here on my monitor, and you spoke to David Gravel. And Gravel is somebody who has won in the past, right?
Yeah, David Gravel's done a lot of winning. He's already won 9 times this year alone and is number 1 in the point standings in the World of Outlaws. And he's won at Huset's before. And what's great about him is he actually drives the Huset's Speedway car with the World of Outlaws. His car owner owns Huset's Speedway, and Todd Quiring, who is from the same hometown as me, Windham, Minnesota.
Wow, Windham, Minnesota.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I was at a small station in southern Minnesota, so Windham, I know where that is. If any viewer watching right now doesn't know where it is,
you pass right
need to
through
know.
on your way to the Twin Cities.
You do. You actually do. Going back to David for a little bit, you were just talking about the money piece of this raceway, and that was something that he said was pretty big about this entire 4-day action that's taking place on this dirt road. As you were creating the story and putting everything together, you said that you came from a sports reporter background.
Yeah.
So how did you see those elements of your past sports reporting come out through this story?
Well, you end up looking at the standings, the point standings. You end up who's making the money, who's winning the races, what kind of top 5 finishes they've had over the course of their career. But really, when I transition over to the news side of things, I'm more interested in the people aspect, just knowing who these guys are, and then just the fan experience more than anything else. Those are kind of some of the important details that go into these stories.
Lucky for you, too, you said that you know a little bit about cars, you know a little bit about the speed and stuff like that. So how do you get that love and that experience that you know into a story like this for someone who may be watching completely blind?
Well, yeah, and it just comes back to that fan experience, what they're going to see out there, what they're going to be able to do. They've got the F-16 flyover coming up on Saturday, and that's a big deal. It's been in the works for over a year, and something that fans always enjoy. They've had it at the golf tournament, the Sanford International here in Sioux Falls before, but It hasn't happened very often at a dirt track, so they're excited about that. But then the fans, they get different experiences down on the track afterwards, the races, before the races. That's why they open the gates so early during the day. But yeah, and then at the end of the day, it all comes back to the racing, and these guys are some of the best in the world at what they do.
Wow. Do you know if people travel from across the country to come to a raceway like this?
They travel from around the world. We were talking with Doug Johnson from Houston Speedway, and he said there's people here from Australia, New Zealand, from around the world. But then here in the United States, yeah, he's got groups in from Texas and Washington State and Oklahoma. So they come from far and wide to come to Houston Speedway.
Wow.
May seem like a small little track in southeast South Dakota, but it's one of the big-time tracks in the United States.
Yeah, we're representing. Yeah. Speaking of representation, I want to go back to your background a little bit in journalism. You know, going from a sports reporter to a news reporter must have been, was that a challenge? Because I feel like it's kind of different themes that you have to think about when it comes to mind. You're almost serving a different audience. How have you found yourself transitioning, or maybe having similarities of like that sports tone with that news tone?
You know, when we hit the COVID pandemic, that's when I was in sports. And at that point, it was, okay, you're going to be a news reporter, because there were no sports going on. And that was always kind of the part that worried me, was just, would I be able to transition? Would I enjoy storytelling day in, day out in the news world? And during COVID, I did it, and I actually enjoyed it. And that was one of the real catalysts behind making the move from sports over to news, is I knew I'd enjoy going out and doing these stories on a day in, day out basis. And, you know, that was the reason right there.
Do you feel like, because I come from a lifestyle background too, and when I do news, I find myself being much more comfortable in my space when I'm doing interviews, because with lifestyle, everything is kind of go with the flow in a way. With your sports background going into news, what is something that you found that you've really excelled at, a skill or something that you've just been like, if I didn't have this sports background, I wouldn't have had this?
Yeah, and that's, you just mentioned it right there. It's just the conversation piece of it. Is I've had more than a few people, including one of the interviews I did recently, not for this story, but you know, they just said, I was really nervous going in, but you really put me at ease just in that conversation, and just the way I asked the questions, I guess. But yeah, no, you hope when you're talking sports or news that you're just talking person to person, and putting them at ease so they feel relaxed on camera, at least as much as they can.
And if a young journalist is watching right now and they're wondering, oh, how do I choose which department I want to go to when I'm going to my station? What's a piece of advice that you would give them?
Well, I'd say do what you love. I mean, off the top. I mean, I stuck with sports for a long time because it's something I really enjoy, and it's what I wanted to do. I had opportunities to go to news side earlier in my career, and I just didn't, and didn't think I wanted to do it. But again, when it came down to it and I had to do it, then I found out, hey, I kind of enjoy this. So I would say also be open to opportunities, maybe a little more than I was early in my career.
Well, Travis, is there anything else you'd like to share about the Houston Speedway or about your career in journalism? Anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I think it's going to be a fun couple of days coming up here, Friday and Saturday, with the High Bank National side of things at Houston Speedway, and $250,000 to win on Saturday. It's going to be a big crowd, and it's going to be a hot one out there. So, you know, my piece of advice there is make sure you have some water with you.
Yes, yes. Sunscreen too if the sun's out, because I would burn. Travis, thank you for joining me at the digital desk, and stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. Joining me now at the digital desk is Lauren Solik, because we're going to talk about why your money matters. Yeah. Lauren, thank you for joining me here.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
And so I want to know, what is the inspiration behind Your Money Matters?
So Your Money Matters is sort of the business economy beat that we do every day. So It's just kind of focusing on what's happening in the economy or new businesses popping up, things like that. So it just usually has that little bit of an angle of like things that you can do with your money.
Okay, and it's supposed to stay local or statewide, regional, or do you look at national too?
Yeah, well, if I do look at national, I usually will try to at least maybe look at like the national economic news going on and then localize it to people in the area or talk to local financial advisors, things like that if I go that route. But usually we try to stay pretty local or regional.
And how would you describe the differences between a Your Money Matters story versus just a regular story that you may work on for an evening newscast?
Sure. Yeah. I think the Your Money Matters really just focuses on that angle of, how your money or your world in the or place in the economy sort of works and how you can maybe better manage your money or ways that you can spend your money, things like that.
I need a consumer beat,
Yeah,
especially when it's about money.
No, yeah, I know. I talk to a financial advisor sometimes and I'm like, can you just like advise me too?
Off the record.
Yes.
Lauren, what was your last Your Money Matters story that you did?
So the last one was about the Hartford Industrial Park called North Oaks Industrial Park. It's a new park that they're kind of developing out there. It got underway last year, but now they have their anchor tenant, Pro Framing Inc., moving in soon. So we went back and did a bit of an update on how it is going and sort of their hopes for what the industrial park can mean for the city of Hartford.
Are you the only reporter that does Your Money Matters?
Yeah, so I mean, we all sometimes do different sort of businessy beats, especially if it's like a new business popping up. But usually I'm the one sticking to the Your Money Matters.
And how do you find a real connection to the story and the topic for Your Money Matters?
Honestly, I kind of look at things that matter to me myself as an everyday consumer. I'm always, trying to find the best deals or ways to budget and things like that. So I imagine if I'm trying to find new ways to handle my money, I'm sure so are many other people. So that's kind of what I try to stick to.
Using the North Oak Park example or story as an example, what was something that you really wanted to bring to the forefront for viewers to really nail in that message of Your Money Matters?
Yeah, I think for that one, it is kind of about the economy of Hartford and how an industrial park can help with that, with bringing in more jobs or residents to the area.
Easy as that, right?
Yeah.
And Lauren, another part of your job is you're also an evening anchor. So how do you find a balance between your daily reporting and your nighttime evening anchoring?
Sure. Yeah. Well, so I always try to get my stories lined up for the early afternoon to get those going and interviews and then get those all written so I'm ready in time to hop onto the 6 o'clock news.
Easy as that.
Yeah.
Quick as that, too. Do you ever find that, how have you made it easier for yourself? Because, I remember when I was first starting out as a young journalist, the idea of just doing daily content just made me go, oh, how am I even supposed to do this? And, you have so many projects that you work on yourself. So how have you developed your time management skills to help you as you do both reporting and anchoring and every other project here at KELOLAND?
Sure. I mean, I still struggle sometimes. There are days where I'm like, I have nothing planned and I need help. But usually I try to plan a little bit in advance, especially like on Fridays. I make sure at least my Monday for the next week is set up with a story so that I'm not panic stressing Monday morning to try and find something. And then it's always nice if I can get Tuesday figured out too. And then once Monday rolls, I can focus on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Think back for the recent, let's say the last week of Your Money Matters that you've done. What's a story that really stuck with you since it was published?
I think I did on Monday, I did a grand opening for or a ribbon cutting, I suppose, for a expansion to Furniture Mart, and that one was really fun. I like doing those sort of new businesses angles too, because I like learning about the new businesses coming to town. So those are always pretty fun to do.
And how do you balance, I feel like I wish I had like a visual up for Your Money Matters, but it sounds like a lot of the consumer news that we put into stories, like that could be a lot of information heavy. Am I wrong? Or how do you find like a balance between getting the visuals out and the right information or enough information?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think the visual aspect is why I like the new businesses, because there's always enough video in there.
Construction
But
sign, a new
yes,
sign.
yeah. But sometimes, with the more heavy on like where the economy is currently at or tips or things like that, sometimes we do have to throw in some graphics with some numbers just to kind of help break things down for people. But usually it's not too difficult to kind of help tell the story a little bit.
I feel like you must be an expert in numbers now if you're working so much
Absolutely
with
not.
money.
I will never claim to be an expert in numbers.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Lauren, we're wrapping up on time, but is there anything else that you'd like to share with your viewers about creating your Money Matters stories?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody has a new business that they're excited about, or if they have like certain economic type things that they're curious about, or ways that they wish they knew more ways to handle their money, like let me know, and maybe I can reach out and do a story about that with some advisors or businesses or whoever.
A great plug. Lauren, thank you so much for joining me at the digital desk, and stick around. We'll be right back after the break.
Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, that's all the time that we have here inside the newsroom. Thank you so much for watching today, because this has been the 5th official episode of Inside the Newsroom. We did a full week of special programming here on KELOLAND Plus. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on Monday at 1 o'clock for the next Inside the Newsroom. Until then, have a great weekend, everyone, and stay weather aware. We'll see you later.